Yvonne is 31 years old. Now she says, my husband and I have been married for just 2 years and I'm already going through a lot. I really trusted my husband and had high regard for him until I caught him cheating. It was a really bitter experience for me. It really got to me, but he apologized and with time I forgave him. But since then, I can't seem to trust him anymore. My instincts tell me to take his phone, and anytime I do so, oh my God, there are always flirty messages with ladies. And trust me, I never saw these red flags during our courtship days. He works at the bank. He treats his colleagues as his family, i.e. he's very close to them. I recently realized that before he takes his bath in the morning, he chats with someone and then he deletes the chats. He then turns off his data. I observed this for like a week. Now one day as he was taking his bath, I turned on his data and lo and behold, he was chatting with this new female employee who had just joined the branch. Apparently, the lady stays around, so he had alerted her to get ready because he's also preparing so that he picks her up at the junction. I left the chat open so he knows that I'm aware of what's going on. When he came back and noticed what had gone down, he swore to me that there was nothing going on and he deletes his chat because he doesn't know how I will interpret it. Jess, I know him and how he's so easygoing when it comes to other female colleagues whose chats he doesn't delete. So my question is, why is he deleting the chats with this specific lady? The lady chats with him even in the evening to ask him work-related questions, and he still deletes it. But he doesn't know that I've seen them already. I don't know why he's taken up the responsibility of taking her to work and bringing her home every day just because she stays close by. Yesterday, he made some rounds after work, so he wasn't able to drop her at home. When he got home, he asked her whether she was home, after which she told him to inform her anytime he has rounds to do after work. I know this will end in them dating, even though she knows he's married. This is their permanent branch. And how long will this be going on since we're not leaving this vicinity soon? I'm really uncomfortable, but I don't know how to handle this. Please help. Alrighty. You're in the studio with me, and I usually throw it to those in the studio with me first. So Ceci, let's hear you. I mean, this happens a lot.
Oh yeah,
regularly in relationships.
It does.
What are your thoughts?
2 years into marriage, chances are that he started cheating way before they got married, because 2 years is pretty fresh. So for him to, it's highly unlikely that it started after marriage. I'm sure there were traits that she didn't want to acknowledge whilst they were dating. For picking her up and dropping her off, I think it's something that is normal with colleagues that stay in the same vicinity, especially with those who don't have cars. Okay, so I live in an area where I have a male colleague who, well, and in real life, I have a colleague like that. He used to be with us, and I move from my place, I pick him up. Mostly he offers to drive, so okay, so yeah, drive the car. And my husband knew him. I introduced him to my husband, so my husband knew him. So, well, there was nothing suspicious. Of course, I wasn't doing anything. Issues? No, okay. Not at all.
Maybe it's because of how you approached it.
Yes, yes. So, marriage, there's a different ballgame. It's not like you are dating that you say, okay, you are going. It's more complicated because now there's family involved. You see, sometimes the mistakes that we make is that you see these things and you think that marriage is some sort of corrective measure that will make the person change. But no, it would only accentuate, because once you are married, he knows that, okay, now he has you, so he can do whatever the flamingo he wants to do. Okay. So, well, you have evidence that something is going on. Changing branches, changing where you're staying, it won't change anything. if they want something to happen between them, it will happen. So forget the girl and concentrate on your husband, because the girl doesn't owe you any sort of loyalty. It's your husband that has pledged to be faithful to you. So tackle it from that end. You talked to counselors before you got married. You have your parents. So whoever it is that you feel comfortable talking to, you can talk to this person. If you haven't talked to him enough, have a conversation with him. I didn't see that she had confronted him in any way. I don't know.
Well, she left the chat open
for him to know.
Yeah.
Okay. And for some people, if you don't mention it, they also pretend that they don't know anything about it. They also play dumb. So you would have to take the bull by the horns and have that conversation with him.
Right.
Yes, I won't say that it is not what it seems. It is exactly what it seems. So have that conversation with him and then trash it out. Ask all the questions you want to ask. Get all the answers you want to get. If it doesn't work, then maybe you can escalate it to whoever it is that he respects. Because 2 years is too young. 2 years of marriage is too young for something like this to start happening. So, yeah.
All right, let me bring in Olivia. I mean, does this necessarily mean that he's cheating per se? You know, maybe he's just trying to be a good neighbor, a good colleague, dropping off this lady. You know, what do you think? Yes. Can you hear me, Olivia? Olivia?
Sorry, Jessica, I didn't hear what you were asking. Your line was a bit faint.
Ah, right. So I was saying that could it really be that he's cheating, or maybe he's just being a good colleague, trying to help a fellow colleague out by giving this woman a ride, you know, home and stuff like that?
Yes and no. To be honest, there's some men who are just ladies' men, and some men just get excited about being there for other women and being important in other women's lives. And unfortunately for this guy, he's got a broken record. He's got a past. He married this woman. It's been 2 years, and already there's evidence of him cheating. So I beg to differ, because he's got cheating like tendencies, and he's exhibiting it clear and openly, without any remorse. Because for someone who is cheated on his wife, he should have the presence of mind. Just I was you see what I mean? To appreciate that I've done this to somebody who loves me and the person is hurt. So what am I going to do as a man, or as a man who is promised to devote my time, my life, my attention to this other person, to make sure that she will feel comfortable and to assure her that she can trust me? So it makes me wonder what kind of conversation they had after his wife caught him. You see, you can have a conversation like, okay, look, this is your food. I can see you've cheated on me, and you can nag about it, and then you can go like, okay, sorry. And that's where it ends. It's been swept under the carpet, but the nitty-gritties or the details of the entire case has not been ironed out and spoken about. So everybody seems to be on their high horse. We claim to have forgiven each other. Life seems to be moving on, but no. Rather, things are deteriorating by the second. So I feel like the girl doesn't want to come across, sweetheart, you don't want to come across as though you're a nagging wife, you're tailing your husband. But the guy is giving you 1,000,001 reasons to doubt him. So 2 things, moving on. Like I always say, I hate divorce. It's been 2 years, right? If you think that you don't love him anymore, okay, and you think that the more you snoop around, finding information on his phone is going to make you mental. And really, these situations make a lot of women go mental, okay, because it affects them psychologically, emotionally, because you are well vested. Your heart and soul and everything is well vested in the marriage in which you are in. And if your other party or your partner doesn't see it like that, it makes it a bit difficult. So if you feel like your heart can't take it anymore, I'm sorry, you may have to leave, because it's been 2 years. I don't like divorce. So this is 2 things. Either you leave, because you know what, sweetheart, there's going to come a point in time whereby you're actually going to have a child in this marriage. And once you have a child in the marriage, right, you have 2, 3 children. The girls no longer, well, depending on the individual, the girls no longer stand. Your belly starts sagging. You lose a lot of self-confidence. It takes a while for you to get back. You know, you need to work out, and even that's when you're working out, you still have a bit of insecurities, but you put it at the back of your mind and decide that you want to be positive. So, Charlie, that's a different hurdle coming up in the future. So 2 things is either you divorce him if you think you can't take it anymore, or you work at it. And when I say work at it, I mean that you actually talk about the situation. I'm not saying naggle. I'm saying talk things through. And the fact that you brought it on this show means that you don't want people to be hearing about your matters. So you like varied opinions. So either you take some time out, take him out, okay, away from an environment that comes across as, oh, you know, you're nagging and all of that. Take him out, sit him down, have that one serious conversation with him and tell him, ask him what he wants from you. Let him know how you feel. Let him know that you've seen these text messages. You have been silent about it because you don't want to raise third world war. Okay, let him know that this is how it makes you feel. And you don't like what's happening because you expect the girl that he's dropping and picking up to appreciate that you guys are married. And him entertaining other text messages, flirtatious text messages, all of that makes you uncomfortable and you don't like it. The fact that he's cheated on him and you, right, and you've forgiven him shows that you love him and you want him to know that every day is an opportunity to forgive, but you also don't want him to take you for granted. And you have to be point blank, you have to be plain, you have to be assertive, and you have to hit the nail right on the head. And then you ask him, how would he feel if you did that to him? And I also think that rather than focus too much on your husband and what he's doing, right, focus on yourself. Do things that are not constantly centered around your husband. Engage in something that will distract you. Don't go picking up his phone if you know that it will upset your heart. This is if you want to work on the relationship and know that it will take every single day. It will take time, okay? But then you will actually get there. It's not going to be easy. So it's either you go the easy way, which is the divorce, or you go the hard way, be persistent, focus on making the marriage exciting, interesting, do other things that will distract you away. Like the more you spend more time on yourself, or something that you love, or a business, something that will get you engaged, you'll realize that, hey, he's not the center of attraction. Whatever he does is not your business, you know, and there's more to life besides him. And then with that, you can start, you know, I'm not saying it's easy. I know it's not, but this is if you want it to work, and give it time and it will help, okay? And find people that you can actually, find a way to let out the steam. You could write, you could do something. But take it one day at a time. That's what I think.
All right. Take it one day at a time. Rosina, talk to me.
I hope we are discussing just one topic.
There's a lot. We need a lot of time for this, eh? Talk to me.
So to start with, what I'll say is that, you see, relationships are not like marriage, or marriage is very different from relationships. So when it comes to relationships, there are a few who are of the thought that you need to shop around a little bit. Probably, you know, like date people, and then you eventually decide on who you want to settle with. And then people say that, okay, men would not go the long haul with somebody that they are not actually in love with, or they don't want to have a life with. So for somebody to actually go the length of marrying you, let's assume that he loves you to a certain extent. And trust me, there are a lot of men who can hide this side from them, because you see, whilst you are dating, most likely you're not living together. So your contact hours are minimum. And when you see him being nice to people, you know, he's a very nice person. He's respectful. His colleagues love him. He's able to joke around and he relates to them. When I'm around crowd, the way he deals with them and deals with me is so nice. Those things are actually very lovely until you get into that box with him and you have a ring on your finger. You've signed a certificate of bondage for life with him. And then all these things that you actually admired now become red flags. So sometimes, yes, it's only 2 years into the marriage, but trust me, there are several times where you don't even see the red flags. Now, when a man marries a woman, what happens is that no matter how much the woman was feeling about the man, as soon as the man goes through the process of the marriage to let everybody know that you are the person I choose to live my life with, it's like your commitment, your love, your devotion, everything kind of like doubles. Because then the man has shown good faith with you to declare his intentions properly, not just with you, with your family, the whole world, if you're a Christian, with God. So you realize that once you didn't have any red flags that you could actually identify, you trust him. And maybe you trust him as somebody who is very trustworthy. You talk about anything and everything and all of that. But you see, a woman's instincts can never be underestimated. So in a marriage, somebody who's never checked on phones, who is not the snoopy kind when you were dating, we're not rushing to pick his phones and do all of that. And then you start realizing certain patterns. And the sad part is that, you see, these men, I don't know what it is, but when they're exhibiting those patterns, it's almost as if they think nobody is seeing. Yeah, they think they are being so smart. But you see, we women, we are so assertive, and we're able to identify some of these things from a distance. So it's not as very little things. You know, maybe this guy used to leave his phone, and all of a sudden, this phone has to be under his pillow when he's sleeping. Why? You know, all of a sudden, between certain times, the phone is on silent. Why? Because he doesn't want to afford a call coming through, a bill coming through when I'm not awake, just in case, you know. And you're probably not even thinking about that. But once you start realizing certain behavior patterns, and most of the time, these behavior patterns are very, very subtle, extremely subtle. But what happens is that because you know the person, you know the patterns of the person, and we women, we pay attention to little things. So you pay attention to small things like, but why is this thing happening? Then all of a sudden, your instincts also kick in. So I'm yet to find a woman, or not I'm yet, I mean, out of like 10 women who would go and pick a phone and decide to look for something, none of them will find it. Because before that woman, who is not a regular snoop, will go into your phone, they would have had a lot of, instances. Now, after you have checked, my take is that, look, I'll not leave a man because of cheating. You understand? It depends on how you do it. Just my personal opinion. Now, after you have found out, my take is that that man is not the only man to have cheated on his wife. And cheating, by the way, I'm not talking about physical cheating like sex. Sometimes it's even emotional. Sometimes it's just that connection, that link that has taken away from you. Because you see, if he spends the whole time talking to the other lady, spending time with the other lady, telling the other lady his work, agenda, his future plans and everything, what does he do with you? What are you left to do? Clean the house, cook, mop, wash his clothes, and then finally sort him out in bed. Is that it? Hello?
No, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. So is that all is is that all there is to it? No. So you realize that after some time they're also cheating on you. Now the question is that after you find out, like Olivia said, the reaction is very important. Is he apologetic about the cheating? Is he sorry about the cheating? How does he communicate his sorry or anything to you? Is he accepting of it? Is he not accepting of it? Whatever it is. Now, and one thing men seem to think is that once they apologize, they think that, once you've apologized, you have to forget, forgive, and then move on. But they don't know that beyond an apology, you need to act like you are sorry. You need to take steps to show, not to act, to show that you are truly sorry. So, for instance, if you've messed up with this girl and the man rightfully apologized because of the kind of messages the woman saw, if I were you, I'll find ways and means of not engaging this lady again, especially to a certain level. Keep your engagements minimal to the office work. When you come to the house, it's time to spend with your wife. And you should just let it be. That way, the wife will not be convinced that, you've taken the necessary steps to sort of, address the issue. But you see, the thing about deleting messages, like the lady said, if the messages were not deleted, you will not probably think anything much of it. He would explain himself, I'm sorry if you are hurt, and probably limit his messages to like office and probably just even the pick up and the drop off. He can still continue. Pick up, drop off, but at least the messages, but But the moment you delete messages between you and somebody every time, then it means that it's possible that there could be some content that you know could upset the wife. And that's why you are deleting it. And that gives you cause for worry. Now, my take is that, look, it's not like the man doesn't love you. The man may love you still and probably want to. I mean, he'll probably die if you leave him. But he feels he's giving you the best gift of marriage. And because he feels he's giving you the gift of marriage, he probably knows the kind of person you are and knows that you wouldn't want to throw it all away in 2 years because you have a reputation to maintain. So you probably would not want to throw away a marriage just in 2 years because, yeah, you saw some text messages and you're not comfortable and everything. So they play with your emotions. So sometimes if you're not careful, they could even turn it around to not make you look like, so why did you? And funny enough, let me tell you something. When you catch them, they're apologetical, but after they go and communicate with the woman, they will come back and be aggressive because the woman has given them loopholes that you can exploit to not be aggressive. That's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens. So my take is that, look, it is a painful situation to be in, very, very painful situation to be in because it takes a lot of, you need to put yourself together in order to look together. Now you ask, what should you do? Is it a reason for you to leave your marriage? I would say no, not yet. This is probably the first incident, is the first hurdle for you to cross. There are many more hurdles. And marriage, like I keep saying, that is serious business. It's not always rosy. It's not always what you expect it to be. It's not even always what the two of you agreed it will be. Sometimes things change. But sometimes you need to work on the marriage. If you work and all else fails, then when you leave, at least you are comforted in knowing that I left because I tried, I couldn't do anything about it. Number 2, when you leave a marriage physically without emotionally leaving, you realize that you even make a bigger fool of yourself because you rush, hey, you're cheating on me, I'm leaving, but you're gone. And you're calling him. So how did you do this to me? Why did you do this to me? Okay, you come over, let's talk about it. Then you shag you now as an ex-wife. Then you become you become a political side chick. So even if you have to leave, you have to make sure that you have emotionally left because before you physically leave. So that when you leave, you don't find yourself looking back. But the thing is that you see, sometimes they forget who you are. So you need to remind them or remind yourself who you are. It's not even about them. Remind yourself who you are. Sometimes there are things you used to do, because you get married, you sort of settle in it. And then if you're not careful, you start treating the man like he's your everything because you are married. And you think that you are trying to be a dutiful wife. But I think that as time goes on, learn to be yourself by yourself. Learn to be happy by yourself, learn to do stuff by yourself. Like you said, if you have to write. You can go up and the things you want to write and, do all of these things. And sometimes men, when they feel they are losing a grip of something they truly love, they would make that U-turn. And it is at that point that you finally tell them exactly what you are thinking. It's not an easy road to tread. It's very, very difficult. Sometimes you forget the game plan, you get angry, you say all sorts of things, you hurt, you cry, you go back to why me. But at the end of the day, it's just a matter of reminding yourself who you are. You see, you need to even before you leave, you need to convince yourself that you can survive without him.
Right.
You can live without him. I'm not talking about financially or physically. I'm talking about emotionally. That attachment that women feel as soon as they get married. You need to be sure that even in the marriage, you have checked out.
Right.
So if you have checked out in the marriage, that one, when the day comes, you pick your bag, Charlie, I'll be saying, bye, we gone.
Yeah.
Talk to you later. So that's what I'll tell you, that lady, because it's just 2 years and it's the first incident, I would say that for me, I wouldn't leave.
Okay.
That's me, my personal opinion.
Okay.
It's not easy, but work on it. Work on it. And working on it is by working on a sensible man who loves you and loves you truly. Once you engage him, you do what is right. But once he is trying to play around you, trying to play around your emotions, Charlie, all I'll say is that work on yourself, and then as time goes on, you'll be attractive again, and you'd have your moment when the time comes.
That's all. No, you talk everything. We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'll read a couple of your messages, that have to do with this particular story. Sister on City TV and 97.3 City FM, brought to you by Vodafone and Good Day Energy Drink. And we'll go straight to your comments. And Dorcas says, when they start talking about colleague, there's fire on the mountain. Akosia says, leave your partner's phones alone. Respect privacy. Aloma says, stop going through your husband's phone and everything will be fine. Lizzie says, dear, please pray about it. There's nothing too hard for God. Even if they are dating, they'll quit, okay? Oh, that sounds so defeatist. Anyway, Abigail says, sorry, dear, you can't do anything about it. The responsibility lies on your husband to know how to interact with other ladies in a manner that won't affect your mental and emotional health. Advice to you is to talk less, feel less. Things will fall into place. Idrissa says, mind your business, my dear sister. You're simply looking for trouble for yourself, lah. You're simply looking for faults in him, and that may destabilize your marriage. Amma says, my dear, learn to mind your business, even though he's your husband. You've been married, or you being married doesn't permit you to go through his phone. Just perform your duty as a wife like you always do, and let God be your friend, since he alone can solve problems when dealing with marriage. And take heart, I will remember you in prayers. Buko says, the way men get away with nonsense is so disgusting. It's funny that the woman is even being blamed for the situation. So she just had to watch her husband being a funny person. Why delete messages? Whitewashing. It's his privacy. What nonsense is that? So you strip naked for your husband and wife, but phone, dear, she can't go through it. If this is what marriage is, then being alone is the best option. Pray to God. Pray to God. For what? Someone knows he's doing nonsense. You say pray to God. Marriage has become a joke because of lack of accountability. Address the issue with your husband and tell him you're not happy about it. If he doesn't respect it, take it to the elders or the counselors. And that's Buko pretty much sum. Thank you so much for watching Sister on your favorite City TV. Now don't forget, if you want some more exciting content, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We call it the City Tube. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications for fresh updates. Sister, every Friday at 9 p.m. only on City TV.